Deep in the lush, green heart of Nigeria, nestled between winding rivers and rolling hills, there stood a small village called Amiyi. It was a close-knit community where everyone knew each other's names and stories, and life moved at a rhythm as steady as the beat of a drum. In this village lived a young woman named Adaeze. From the moment she took her first breath, it seemed as though a dark cloud had settled over her existence. The villagers whispered and gossiped, casting suspicious glances her way, as if she were some sort of omen or curse. Adaeze's parents, Namdi and Neka, were good, hard-working people who had never done anyone any harm. But for reasons no one could quite explain, the villagers had decided that their daughter was somehow different. Unnatural? A blight upon their otherwise peaceful community. As Adaeze grew from a babe into a young girl, the mistreatment and ostracization only intensified. The other children would taunt and tease her mercilessly, chanting cruel rhymes and throwing rocks and dirt her way whenever she dared to venture too close. Which child? Which child, they would jeer, their young faces twisted with a hatred and fear that seemed far too old for their tender years. Adaeze never understood why she was the target of such cruelty. She was a gentle, loving soul who would never dream of harming a fly, let alone another human being. But try as she might to prove her innocence and goodness, the villagers remained unconvinced. As she blossomed into a young woman, the whispers and accusations only grew louder. Some claimed she was cursed by dark spirits, while others insisted she was a shape-shifting demon in human form. No matter what she did or how hard she tried to fit in, Adaeze was always seen as an outsider, a pariah in her own home. Despite the constant rejection and hostility, Adaeze refused to let it break her spirit. She held her head high and went about her daily tasks with a quiet dignity that both impressed and infuriated her detractors. Adaeze's family was among the poorest in the village, and from a young age, she had to work hard to help support them. She spent her days toiling in the fields, planting and harvesting crops under the scorching sun. In the evenings, she would sell the fruits and vegetables she had gathered at the local market, trying to earn enough money to put food on the table for her loved ones. It was back-breaking work, made all the more difficult by the way the other villagers treated her. They would spit at her feet as she passed, or purposefully knock over her wares, scattering her hard-earned produce across the ground. But Adaeze never retaliated or complained. She simply picked up what had been scattered, dusted it off, and carried on with her day, her gentle eyes holding no trace of bitterness or anger. Despite the challenges she faced, Adaeze always found solace in the simple joys of life. She loved to sit by the river that flowed through the heart of the village, watching the water shimmer and dance in the sunlight. Or she would gaze up at the stars that twinkled in the night sky, finding comfort in their eternal, unwavering presence. These small moments of peace and tranquility helped her forget the cruelty of the villagers, if only for a little while. They reminded her that there was still beauty and wonder in the world, even when it seemed like darkness was closing in from all sides. One day, a young man named Chidi arrived in Amiyi. He was a stranger, having come from a distant town in search of work and a better life. From the moment he laid eyes on Adaeze, he was captivated by her quiet strength and unwavering kindness. Chidi couldn't understand why the villagers treated Adaeze with such disdain. He saw a hard-working, gentle soul who seemed to bring light and warmth wherever she went. The way the others ostracized and mistreated her baffled and disturbed him. Determined to get to the bottom of this strange dynamic, Chidi made it his mission to get to know Adaeze better. And the more time he spent in her company, the more he fell under her spell. Adaeze was unlike any woman Chidi had ever met. She possessed a depth of spirit and a resilience that was truly remarkable. Despite the hardships she had endured, she remained kind, humble, and full of joy for the simple pleasures of life. Slowly but surely, Chidi and Adaeze began to form a bond that went beyond mere friendship. They would spend hours talking and laughing together, sharing their hopes and dreams for the future. Adaeze found herself opening up to Chidi in a way she had never done with anyone before, and for the first time in her life, she felt truly understood and accepted. As their love blossomed, the villagers grew even more hostile towards Adaeze. They couldn't understand how a man as promising as Chidi could be interested in someone they deemed so unworthy, so cursed. They tried to warn him away from her, spreading vicious rumors and doing everything in their power to drive a wedge between the two lovers. But Chidi would not be swayed. He had seen the true beauty of Adaeze's soul, and he was determined to stand by her side, no matter what obstacles they faced. One day, Chidi gathered the villagers together and addressed them directly. With a voice that rang with conviction, he spoke of the injustice and cruelty they had shown Adaeze over the years. He challenged them to open their eyes and see the kind, hard-working woman she truly was, rather than the monster they had convinced themselves she was. At first, the villagers were resistant to Chidi's words. They had been taught to fear and mistrust Adaeze for so long that it was difficult to let go of those deeply ingrained beliefs. But as Chidi continued to speak, something began to shift. One by one, the villagers found themselves looking at Adaeze in a new light. They saw the way she went about her daily tasks with a quiet determination, never complaining or seeking pity. They saw the way she always had a kind word or a warm smile for those around her, even when they had treated her so poorly. Slowly but surely, the villagers began to feel ashamed of the way they had treated Adaeze for all those years. They realized that their prejudices and fears had blinded them to the true nature of her character, and they had missed out on knowing a truly remarkable woman. From that day on, the villagers made a conscious effort to welcome Adaeze into their community. They invited her to their gatherings and celebrations, and they sought out her advice and counsel on important matters. Adaeze, in turn, embraced them with open arms, her heart overflowing with forgiveness and a desire to move forward in peace and harmony. Chidi and Adaeze's love only grew stronger in the face of this newfound acceptance. They were married in a beautiful ceremony, surrounded by the very people who had once shunned and rejected them. It was a joyous occasion, filled with laughter, music, and the promise of a bright future ahead. As the years passed, Adaeze and Chidi became pillars of the community. They worked tirelessly to improve the lives of those around them, establishing a school for the village children and supporting local businesses. Adaeze's kindness and compassion became legendary, and she was revered by all who knew her. Even in her old age, Adaeze remained as beautiful and radiant as the day Chidi had first laid eyes on her. Her spirit shone brightly, a beacon of hope and inspiration for all who crossed her path. And when the time finally came for Adaeze to leave this world, the entire village mourned her passing as if she were family. They gathered together to celebrate her life and the countless ways she had touched their hearts and souls. As they looked back on Adaeze's journey, they were reminded of the power of love, forgiveness, and the ability to see beyond our own prejudices and fears. For it was only when they opened their hearts and minds to the true essence of Adaeze's character that they were able to truly appreciate the remarkable woman she was. And so, the legend of the lady who was once not liked in a village in Nigeria but later found love lived on. a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of acceptance and understanding. The story of Adaeze and Chidi's love became woven into the fabric of Amiyi village, passed down from generation to generation as a reminder of the importance of compassion, empathy, and the courage to challenge one's own assumptions and biases. For years after Adaeze's passing, the villagers would gather around the fire on cool evening nights, and the elders would recount her tale to the wide-eyed children huddled at their feet. They spoke of the way she had endured scorn and ridicule with a grace and dignity that was truly awe-inspiring. She was like a flower that bloomed in the midst of a desert, one elder would say, his voice hushed with reverence. No matter how harsh the conditions, no matter how little nourishment she received, she refused to wither and die. The children would listen, enraptured, as the story unfolded. They would gasp and shake their heads in disbelief at the cruelty Adaeze had faced, and their eyes would shine with tears when they heard of the way Chidi's love had finally opened the villagers' eyes to her true worth. And always, without fail, the elders would end the tale with the same solemn warning: let Adaeze's story be a lesson to us all. Never judge someone before you truly know them. For if we allow our fears and prejudices to blind us, we may miss out on knowing a heart as pure and beautiful as hers. As the years turned to decades, and the decades to centuries, the legend of Adaeze and Chidi took on an almost mythical quality. Their names became synonymous with the power of enduring love, and the triumph of the human spirit over even the darkest of adversities. Travelers passing through Amiyi would often stop and ask to hear the tale, and the villagers would recount it with pride, their voices swelling with emotion as they spoke of the woman who had once been so cruelly ostracized, but whose light had ultimately shone so brightly that it illuminated the entire community. And on those nights when the story was told, it seemed as though Adaeze's spirit was there among them, a gentle, smiling presence that reminded them of the beauty that can be found in even the most unlikely of places, if only one has the courage to look. For Adaeze's life had been a testament to the truth that love can conquer all, even the deepest-rooted prejudices and the most entrenched fears. Her story was a shining example of the power of forgiveness and the transformative impact that a single, loving heart can have on an entire community. As the decades melted into centuries, the details of Adaeze's life may have faded and shifted, molded by the passage of time and the fallibility of human memory. But the essence of her story, the core truth at its heart, remained as vibrant and relevant as the day it had first unfolded. And so, generation after generation, the people of Amiyi village carried Adaeze's legacy forward, sharing her tale with their children and grandchildren, ensuring that her light would never be extinguished, and that the lessons she had taught would continue to echo through the ages. For in the end, Adaeze's story was not just about one woman's triumph over adversity or the blossoming of an unlikely love. It was about the boundless depths of the human spirit and our endless capacity for growth, change, and redemption, no matter how lost or mired in darkness we may seem. It was a reminder that true beauty often hides in the most unexpected of places, and that if we have the courage to open our eyes and our hearts, we may find ourselves forever changed by the radiance we encounter. And so the legend lived on, woven into the very fabric of Amiyi, a shining thread of hope and inspiration that would never fade or fray. A story for the ages, of a woman whose love had transformed a community, and whose light continued to burn long after she was gone. An eternal beacon, guiding all who encountered her tale towards a deeper understanding of the boundless potential that lies within us all.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Kindly click the subscribe button, like, comment, and share this video. Watch out for more intriguing and eye-catching videos from your favorite YouTube channel.